Okay, it worked. Hi.
Hey, Beach.
Hi.
It's been so weird not to see you for 4 months. 3 months.
I know. Well, here's the thing. We haven't talked at all in the interim.
Yeah,
like cold open.
If we hadn't talked for 4 months and we were just like, hey.
Let's document this. Yeah. That would be pretty cool. So this is presumably season 2, episode 1. I feel like we should intro it at the top because it's been a long time. People don't know.
Yeah, plus we recorded a couple episodes that won't be released probably until we're famous and we want to take a vacation. We're like, here's some old shit. Mm-hmm. So instead of figuring out, like, having these moral dilemmas about what is the episode number technically, let's just do season 2, episode 1.
Season 2, episode 1, yeah. And you're still listening to, if you ever were listening, you're still
Hello,
listening.
Is anyone there?
Can you please just comment on our fucking shit? I'm gonna kill you.
If anyone ever comments, Liz will cry all day long. Validation.
Okay, but the truth is, I haven't checked our YouTube shit, this summer. We took the summer off, as you can see. Yeah. It's October now. It's creepy season.
It is.
And I don't know. Maybe we blew up while we've been off the YouTube.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, we've been on hiatus, guys. We've been working on a new album. I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, it's going to be 35 songs, 2 discs.
And it's creepy season. So one's like the moon, and the other one is stars. Those are our 2 discs.
Are those the names? I forget. Because I thought that, like, the actual CDs, one of them was my boob, and one of them was your boob. And so when you open it up...
Yeah, that's just the names of them. Do you want to be the moon?
Right. Well, we already talked about this because our album's almost out.
Right, yeah.
So...
Just for the fans' sake.
I'm Moon.
Okay. Is it because you kind of want a penis?
We weren't going to talk about that on there. Yeah, so it's almost Halloween. Do you have any Halloween plans? It's a weird year to celebrate Halloween.
It is. I know I'm going to be carving pumpkins with my family today.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cute.
We always try and carve pumpkins. And then I bought bat wings for my cat that I'm going to put on him. Because he's black, so just make him a bat, you know? So I bought those, and they're arriving Wednesday. And so I'm going to put them on him. That's probably going to be the most Halloween thing I do.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm pretty sure I'm working. Yeah, but that means you get to wear what you want.
Ooh.
So I don't know. I'll wear something.
I feel ya. Do you have any kind of costume in mind?
No, it's always kind of, these days it's usually like something I scrape together at the last second.
Yeah. I'm unsure if I'm going to dress up just for fun. But I think it's the same thing. It's like what I can get from my closet. And the only thing I've really thought is like a goth Cher from CLUELESS.
I thought you meant goth Cher.
I know. That's why I had to put like no breath in there. I had to let you know. It's Cher from CLUELESS.
Cher from CLUELESS. Okay.
So I have the punk plaid yellow dress. I don't have her white knee-high socks, but I have black knee-high socks. So I could do that, and then I have a black blazer, or I would put like a black t-shirt or something under it, and I have black hair. Like, it just, I would be her if she were goth, essentially. So
cool.
that's all I can scrape together in my brain so far. Maybe Selena. I could always pull off Selena.
Goth Selena.
Just round my rings. Goth Selena. It's funny because everyone in the 90s was almost goth because they just had that, like, dark lipstick and that liner.
And the, like, heavy-handed, you know, application of the eyeliner, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty goth.
Pretty goth. That's why the 90s is my vibe forever and always. I love the 90s.
Because even mainstream was pretty goth.
Yeah.
And hence you had lipstick. Like the digital era beginning. Oh,
why?
Incredible. For the aesthetics, incredible.
It's so,
and you know, like I know that Backstreet is a bit late of the 90s, but everybody with their Halloween themed music video.
Yeah.
And their digitized bullshit. Like, it couldn't be more relevant.
This is just a Backstreet Boys podcast.
Yeah.
That will
Season
come
2.
one day, guys.
You know, yeah, okay, so we should talk about what our goals for season 2 are, right? Like, what are we trying to do? Okay, so, right, if you remember the for JGL concept, we're still for JGL, right?
Everything we ever do will always be for JGL.
And that's been obvious.
Yeah, I think so.
Well. Yeah. But just to reiterate, yeah, this is all for JGL, for Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And he's actually the only intended audience.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling, I don't know, like what's going on, or who are these ladies?
Why am I listening to this?
Yeah, then actually the problem is with you, because you're not JGL.
Okay, yeah. But what if JGL is listening and he's thinking these things? Do we have a plan B for that?
I think we should just give him, like, we should tell him what he should expect for season 2.
Okay.
You know?
This is probably something we should have discussed before recording.
Well, no.
That's not how we work, guys. We haven't seen each other in 4 months,
no.
Clearly.
Yeah. So season 2, we were, like, kind of talking about what we were going to do, because season 1 was all about the challenge.
Yes.
And it was stressful. It was every week. It was big highs, big lows.
Yeah, and what did come out of that was 2 of my best friends started watching the challenge.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome, because the challenge is fucking amazing. And I don't think we've said we're never going to do more challenge, but I think we would revamp it. And because the challenge is going to be on until we die, I think, until they all die. This is we're coming on season 36. Jesus Christ.
Season 99, the death games.
This barely missed the 90s goth train. I wish that it were on when it was in the 90s, and I could have seen everybody in dark lipstick trying to fucking jump off cliffs. Yeah, anyways, that's not the point. Cool. The point is, this is season 2,
right? Yeah.
And we're gonna try and have some kind of topic in mind. Of course, we always meander off the path because we see something shiny, something yummy, just something really.
And usually it's not even shiny or yummy when we get to it. We're just like, oh, what's this old dead thing? Yeah. And then we kick at it for a while.
And then we forget where the path was originally.
Yeah, and then we're like, I'm cold and I'm hungry. Should we eat this?
Yeah. And then we die. But it's okay, because it's Halloween, and that is our first kind of topic. Just because this is going to come out, theoretically,
possibly
before
Halloween. Oh, God.
Or maybe on Halloween. Hopefully at least the 30th. That way, you know, people that are lagging. Maybe JGL wants to open it the next day. It's still Halloween.
Right. Yeah.
So.
To give JGL a bit of time.
Yeah. Where does Halloween fall on your holiday? Like, is it up there? Your favorite holiday? Least favorite? Do you give a fuck?
Okay, because we're dipping into main content now, which this is the intro, obviously, so we can't get too crazy.
Yeah.
But for me, Halloween's always been tops. I love Halloween. It's always been the best. I wish that we had a Halloween in each quadrant of the year. I want every season to have its own version of Halloween.
Why?
You know? I just love Halloween.
Yeah, I love the time of year it is. Summer's leaving. In some places of the nation, it's leaving more than it is with me. It
So
was
profound,
90 something last week. Like, I'm pissed off. But,
Mm-hmm.
like, if summer's leaving, you get a little breeze, a little crispness to the air. You start thinking, oh, I want some hot chocolate. I just love what Halloween represents. It's the beginning of me not being a hot ass bitch. That's really what it boils down to.
That's true. Yeah, I think for me, Halloween, you know, I'm starting to trying to get more in touch with the natural cycles of life, which include the seasons, right? Although California is not the most seasonal of places.
Sunny California.
Right. But, you know, at least and because we've, like, you know, forced the rest of the world to, like, make our food in weird ways. Anyway, it's not even, like, seasonal food either.
Yeah.
Because we can get all the shit year round.
Yeah.
But, you know, there is something special about fall. And it gets cool, and there's the anticipation of winter, which is, you gotta make plans.
You do.
You do.
See, I have a fall to-do list that starts with Halloween. And I even go as far as to write it down. And the first thing was to watch some Halloween movies.
Yes.
Obviously, Halloween Town 1 and 2 has to be watched every year. And then it's getting cold, so I don't think it's out yet. But I want to get hot chocolate from Starbucks. I love the Starbucks hot chocolate. It's so sweet and bad for you. And they sell their coffee in those big old packs, you know?
Yeah.
And the lady said they also do that with hot chocolate. So,
ooh, I'll totally buy some of that.
Hells yeah. And then get some, I'm a marshmallow bitch. So I go get marshmallows.
Marshmallows aren't vegetarian. That's the only reason I can't fuck with them. But
are marshmallows pork? What the fuck am I missing?
Yeah, dude.
Never mind. I don't want to know. Fuck it. Anyways, I'm going to pour some pork marshmallows into my hot chocolate. And then that also brings just the warmth that makes me want a blanket. So I always buy a new blanket in either October or November. Something that's just fluffy and that I just want to have nuzzling me at all times of the day. I love that.
That's good. I think a fresh blanket is, you gotta have. For me, I took my electric blanket out from under my bed.
Dang. I've never had an electric blanket. I'm never that cold.
My circulation is so wimpy that I gotta have it. But yeah, I'd say my electric blanket's definitely one of my rituals nowadays. But you know, I feel like I'm still trying to get more into rituals. So far, tea and electric blankets. But what I'm hoping for is like more porridge, soft, warm foods, soups and breads.
Yes.
And, and just to like maybe drop some of the habits that, you know, maybe they didn't suit me or I just picked them up for summer, but lots of like crunchy things, lots of cold things. We can put them away for now. Doesn't mean they'll be gone forever. And just like fucking make your life a yam and you're sitting in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I love how you're making the cold time some kind of regulator for your diet.
I'm grasping.
I will say that a lot of warm foods can be detrimental to your health as well, bitch.
Oh, no, yeah, totally. I'm totally fine with I think it's natural to put on a bit of weight in the cold season. So I'm going to work on that a little bit.
Gonna work on that. I love that.
And if it happens to go the other way, well, dang.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I get such an inkling for in in these cold times is apple pie.
Yeah.
Please do not tell me that's pork as well.
No.
Okay, good.
That's great.
I want, I have this urge to make apple pie from scratch. Mm-hmm. And just have like a big old vanilla scoop of ice cream on top. And just have that be my life. Like, I just want to be that bitch. I also want to have like an apple, barn in my backyard. That's what I want to.
Okay. Yeah. That too. Well, yeah, and actually this time of year, like end of summer, whatever fucking time of year it is, it's great for planting. That's something I know. You gotta put the shit in the earth before the winter, before it gets too cold.
Yeah.
And that might not be literal earth outside, but could be putting a seed in a little pot in your apartment, making it grow.
I'm so bad at helping things grow.
Well, maybe you should. Next time you're out at Starbucks, steal a plant and try and make it.
I will say, I don't go to Starbucks often, but if I ever feel super, because I don't make my own coffee. I'm not trying to be like, ugh, I don't make my own coffee. I mean, like, I don't generally drink coffee. I don't know how to make coffee. So if I'm ever so tired, like when your eyes just feel like closing.
Oh my God.
You've been awake for 3 hours.
Dear listeners, with Gabby, it's so obvious when she's like about to pass out. Because her face is a totally different shape. It's just one big
shape.
Nap.
It's just a dripping shape. A shell of what it was, really.
Yep.
I like... We were watching this movie yesterday. What was it? Horse Sense. Sorry, guys. All right. So, if you've ever seen that lovely pearl of a movie, Joey Lawrence, the older brother, sleeps in, just has this perfect bed, and then
I was getting triggered because it was like calling me out.
I know, it was. And then Andy, the youngest brother, is like, he works on a ranch, gets up at like 4:30 or 5 or something. And so there's this scene where Joey like stays up till like 2 watching random shit on this TV, goes to bed, and Andy like pops up and tries to wake him up, and he's like, whoa. So that was us. Liz felt personally attacked.
I did. I know. Because he's a bad brother. He's not even a brother in this movie.
He was failing at so many things in that movie.
Yeah, and this might be reading too deep into it.
You can't read too deep into Horse Sense.
Yeah, but Joey's brother, I almost felt like he was skating over all these underlying issues, but he was acting like it was all okay because he was like in this like privileged background. Right. He's like, I'm gonna sleep in, I'm gonna party with Gina, I'm gonna blah blah blah.
There's
blah,
enough
blah.
distractions where he thinks he's okay.
Where he thinks he's okay, but he's not okay. And it took, well, we're still halfway through.
Yeah, because
so
Liz
we don't know what's gonna happen.
Yesterday.
I was tired, but I woke up at like before 8 o'clock today. So.
Oh, nice. She did great.
Yeah.
But the whole point was that this happens where I'm like calling Liz and she's just like asleep.
Yeah.
If I could pop up there, I would.
You really need to get in there with the triangle and yeah, because
if I could, I fucking would.
I know you would.
The other day we were trying to watch a movie and she was asleep. I was like calling her. This bitch snoring away. I know, she's a tired bitch. It's okay. It gets worse in the winter, I think.
It does. I'm hoping I'll keep it in check, but who knows?
I think you will.
Yeah.
I think
That's this time of year, though, right? It's about, like, thinking about what's going to happen in the winter. Am I prepared for it? Like, what things do I need to do today that won't make me a Joey in the winter?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I want to be an Andy either, but I think we should all strive to be a Matthew, really.
Yeah, that one who showed up for like half a second, and he was just like really good looking.
He was like Brad Pitt in Thelma and Louise. That was his role there for the second.
For Horse Sense. Yeah. So JGL, we definitely recommend at least the first 45 minutes of Horse Sense for this season. It's really gonna help you out.
I think so. I think in general, though, we've been away, and Liz seems to be... She's just in great spirits lately.
I'm doing better.
Yeah.
Thank you for noticing.
You're welcome, girl. I can tell even though we haven't talked in 4 months.
Yeah. See, the other thing, though, is that because I'm the moon and you're the stars...
Edit this pause
and then
out.
Here's where we just edit in. Yeah.
It's too long. Edit it out.
Yeah. No, but it's true. I'm feeling good. I think this Halloween season, this like transitional period, it's been a transitional year for me, I think. So
yeah,
let's lean in, guys. Go on the pumpkin ride of your dreams. The headless horseman. Get on that dick, you know?
Oh my god, would you fuck a headless horseman?
I totally will. I just watched Sleepy Hollow, and he's hot. He can also, like... he's like... There's nothing hotter, honestly, than a guy on a galloping horse with no head, and he's holding a fucking sword above his head. Like, he's gonna... Yeah, he's...
I would like to argue that JGL is hotter than that.
Okay, well, if JGL
were the headless horse, but we love his head.
He could, you know, when are they gonna remake Sleepy Hollow? I've been talking about this for years.
When was Sleepy Hollow released?
Probably like 2004.
Oh my god, you want them to remake something that hasn't even been 20 years?
I want them to remake the Harry Potter movies.
Oh my god. Well, we need that. But I don't know if they'll do that because everyone's so mad at J.K. Rowling.
Yeah. I mean,
with good reason.
And they've got reasons. Yeah.
So I don't know if she's going to get a remake for a while.
No. Yeah. Shit. But as soon as we get the chance.
Yeah. I'm not a huge Harry Potter bitch, but I love me some Chamber of Secrets for that Tom Riddle action.
Dude, I was just talking about this the other day. Isn't it so funny? I'm gonna struggle to talk about this again. Okay, isn't it hella funny? I'm getting chills.
It's good that you're wearing a sweater.
Yeah. When he writes out Tom Marvolo Riddle in the air, and then he goes, and it turns into... I am Lord Voldemort.
I love when he...
That's funny.
Isn't it like right before that he says, I am... What is it? The past, present, and future?
Exactly!
And that's the part where I'm like, fuck! Let's also talk about how uncomfortable it is when you love someone as a kid... And then you still love that. Through nostalgia, you're still like, oh my god, Tom Riddle's so hot. But I have to think, like, is he over 18? Do I need to rephrase this?
See, and that's what it's like with little Lawrence for me, whatever that guy's name is.
Matthew or Andy? Joey? Yeah, Joey, Andy. I feel like, is always over 18.
Andy.
You think Andy? Okay, well, Andy was 11 in that movie. So he wasn't much to look at, but obviously... He was the
But I liked his vibe. He was freckly. He was kind of... He had that, like, softness of youth. And I just love him.
He's a good character.
Yeah.
In that movie.
Anyway, we have to back away from Horse Sense. And we have to...
Yeah, we can't do this whole... in fact, we might reevaluate and just make this whole podcast about Horse Sense.
Right, yeah. Season 2, episode 1 of the Horse Sense season.
Yeah. But... Truly, we're talking about Halloween, and we've got some Halloween tidbits to get into.
Yeah. Right after this break.
Woo! Alrighty.
Okay, so this is going to be the meat and the potatoes of our season 2, we think.
Yes.
But I feel like we gotta explain what we've got planned. And also how this first episode is going to be slightly different than what our plan is going forward.
Yes. And I think context is important because Liz and I are both so different, but I think our minds work similarly in terms of like we're a little chaotic and we're easily distracted and we're also obsessive. Yeah. So we go through cycles, right? And so for season 2, we've been talking about a lot. And one thing we were gonna do was like actual prose.
Yeah.
And like interchanging stories, right? And like fictional stories that we created. And while that is something we may want to do later, it just ain't the time. I'm drained. Yeah. Life is draining. Yep. Liz is drained. Creating is difficult.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're kind of going on to this story trope in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to do something a bit more achievable than just like this high ambition story trading off idea that we were going to do.
Blonde ambition tour.
Yeah, and we still thought that like, so we had this idea that like, what if we both took a shared concept and just kind of like meditated on it, and that could have been like how our fiction started, but it also counts for like this, which is kind of like nonfiction. It's easier to maybe sum it up because it's going to be like our own stories, right?
Yeah.
Or like our own arguments or like our own thoughts, not like world building and dialogue and all that.
Yeah, or like our own interests too, because we're trying to do a broad topic, and the things that I pay attention to are not things that Liz pays attention to, and vice versa. So there's just an endless possibility for conflicting thoughts about the same thing.
Right. So we thought that the format could go something like, we come up with a topic. How we do that is kind of still a question mark in a way. But we come up with a topic and then we each think about it on our own, and we surprise each other when it comes to recording with like our little, story or essay or whatever came out of us that week about the topic, we'll share with the other person. And ideally it would be some kind of a surprise, but because this is the first time we're doing it and we didn't really know like what each other was up to, how long the other person's thing was going to be, we were a bit more transparent with each other about like what we were thinking our stories would be about. But it's still going to be like a new conversation. So kind of as we mentioned, like the topic this week for this episode is Halloween. And kind of like the subtopic we centered on within Halloween and everything you could talk about in Halloween is like costumes, because it felt like something that we both had ideas about that we wanted to think about more. And so that's kind of how we got there.
Yeah, I think costuming is just fun, and it's the first thing I think about when I think about Halloween. We even pondered dressing up for this podcast and we just couldn't pull it off. But, who doesn't like to dress up?
Yeah. Yep. So I guess, we'll jump into it then. We've each kind of prepared our own things. It's not like a written draft exactly. We're kind of going off of like notes when we talk here. And I think we're also going to allow for like interruptions, like questions and normal conversation vibes, Yeah. But we're still going to take turns. So we decided that Gabby was going to go first for this one because I trust her as a storyteller. I think she's going to be really cool.
It's always fun to start something when someone's like, okay, I trust you, you do it.
Yeah.
That's always a good starting point. But I was inspired instantly by this topic, and I thought about my costumes over the years because I am someone that usually does dress up. I don't know if there was a Halloween in which I didn't dress up. Even, like, a half-assed costume, or, like, a costume I've worn 3 or 4 times. Like, I always try and do something. So I'm going to sort of take Liz and all of our loyal listeners on a journey through my costumes. And I wish that I had cute baby costumes I could tell you about, but all I could get out of my mother was my first one at like 4-ish months. The first Halloween, it was in PJs because she wasn't going to take me out. My dad came and got me, and I was in PJs. That was my first costume, which I think...
you were, what, 2 months old?
Yeah, I was like a few months old. But that is the costume I choose to wear all day, every day. Still to this day. PJs are my life. It's probably what I'm going to wear this Halloween. Yeah. And, I mean, I was in my true form back then. The PJs. But, again, I couldn't get anything else. Was I a cute lion with big old cheeks at 1 year? I don't know. Was I a baby pumpkin? You gotta have that one. I don't know. Some kids are like dinosaurs and strawberries. And I think when I have a kid, like, it's 30 days of Halloween. For sure. Yes, different costumes. Totally. I mean, how do you decide? I got my cat bat wings for this Halloween. So, it's just what I'm gonna do. But my mom was like... She was like, you know what? Life is hard, and when you're poor, you don't have time to remember what your kid is wearing. I was like, okay, Mom, thanks. Yeah. So I got nothing out of her. But in elementary school, bless you, in elementary school, I sort of evolved into another true form of mine, which is all the princesses that I love. Glitter, pink, just any, like, full-fledged tulle dresses. That was what I wore. And
where did you get the princess ones from? Did you get them from, like, the store, like Spirit Halloween stores? Or...
No, I'm telling you, girl, we were poor. So I got most of my costumes from Walmart. They used to have, they still do. It just looks a little more chaotic, or maybe I remember it differently. But they used to have a few aisles of costumes, and we would go, and it would always have like $19.99 or something tacked on the side, and that would be my costume. And you know, I really love my mother for that, because no matter how little money we had, you know, she was a single mom. She worked 3 jobs and put herself through school. And I was a crying ass baby on her arm the entire way. And I always got to do the fun stuff. I always dressed up. I always like got a new backpack when school was starting with my pencil box and my crayons and stuff. She always came through in the way that she could. And I think that I just really appreciate that. Shout out, Mom. Never gonna listen to this. Yeah. But
go, Mom.
Speaking of Mom, okay, remember, she's going to school full time, has 3 jobs. She would read with me every night, okay? And I was annoying Gabby and would give her reading comprehension quizzes because she would be tired and not paying attention to the story.
Yeah, totally.
So I was like, Mom, I'm going to quiz you because this is ridiculous. So Cinderella is my favorite princess. I love that blonde bitch. And
it's so strange that you do.
I know, but it's because I read the book over and over again when I was like, 4 or 5. I read it with my mom over and over again, and this was the one where there was the most reading comprehension questions, and I don't know why. That was one of the books that I remember picking up all the time. And as an adult, I do recognize her story isn't necessarily the most compelling. She's one of the most basic bitches of the princesses. I get it. But I went to Disneyland in college with some of our friends. And Cinderella was at the entrance. And I flipped out. I was like, it was like glitter and air and everything perfect, like lifted in my chest. And I was like, oh my God, Cinderella!
That's really cute.
So, yes, I was Cinderella. I think I was Belle. I was Rapunzel. That one I got off of like a life-size like 4-foot doll, and it did not fit me. There's a picture of me, and I meant to send it to you, Liz. I apologize. But there's a picture of me on the couch, knocked out, just sleeping, and they're like my chubby little belly's out, like my butt's out. Like, I don't fit in this dress. So but I wore it everywhere. So that was definitely like my elementary years was princesses. I did have a notable mention. I was a pumpkin in elementary school. Good. And it was...
Oh, yeah, I've seen this picture.
Yes, right? Yeah. I was a pumpkin. And what's funny is, because I was, like, a pretty tall... I've always been a tall kid for my age. So, like, in, 3rd, 4th grade, I was, like, 5'6". And so it was, like, maybe a teen outfit. I don't know. But the reason I mentioned that is because my mom, as a teacher, wore that pumpkin outfit for Halloween for like 3 or 4 years. Like, she always dressed up for Halloween as a teacher, and she was that pumpkin way more than she needed to be.
That's so funny.
But that was pre-darkness, right? Because my next phase is the goth phase, which I hit in junior high. 12 and on. I had to be either a vampire, a witch, a dark fairy.
I love dark fairies.
Just like nondescript, like mistress of dungeon or whatever was on those weird, like costumes.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Anything,
those titles of the costumes.
Yeah. Anything dark, black, red, like really deep purples, and long dresses.
So basically like what you wear now.
Yes. Kind of. I was realizing my real form. It was an excuse to be goth and be dark, and I went all out. I would do my nails, I would do my makeup really dark, my hair would be crazy, and it was an excuse to be dark, and my mom couldn't say anything about it, because in junior high, I also wanted to kind of dress more quote-unquote gothy in regular outfits, and my mom really wouldn't let me. My mom started to put a cap on. Oh my gosh. Special guest star is my mother of this podcast, I swear. So she would regulate how many like black shirts I would buy, and I obviously couldn't do crazy dark makeup. I don't think I could do eyeshadow until high school, which also felt, spoiler alert, I wasn't able to be truly goth in high school either. But, like, I just couldn't explore stylistically what I wanted to. And I think on Halloween, that was my chance to go all out. I could just be this mistress of the dungeon. And, I think that's really interesting because I never really got to live out that fantasy in my regular dress. And even now as an adult where I technically could, I don't go there all the way.
Yeah.
And I wonder what that really, where all of the desire comes from. Would I have these hints of gothiness now? Because some days you see it more than others.
Yeah.
If I had fully explored it. Go ahead.
Yeah. I kind of wonder if, like, what do you think your mom was trying to protect you from in making those choices for you?
Yeah, I don't know. She used to say, and she still does say it if we ever talk about it, she was like, it wasn't you. And I don't know. I can understand what she means, but I think that, like, you and I would think if we were parents, like, let the kid explore if it's not hurting anything, like, let them figure out that it's not them. And for me, I understand what she means because I'm not full goth now. It's not a desire that I have. I love goth style. I think it's awesome. But I do also have, like, if you want to put labels on it, probably like the more bohemian style sometimes. I do have that like princess pink style sometimes. Sometimes I'm in like pink head to toe. I'm like, what am I doing? So I have different aspects of my personality, and I think that's okay. And I don't know if my mom was seeing these other parts of me and rejecting the one that seemed the most foreign to her, because she comes from a completely different culture. She comes from a Hispanic culture, and it's just more constricted in ways. So, I don't know. But I do remember in junior high, at the same age as this goth phase, I had the first day of school, 7th grade, Liz. I have a picture of this too, I should have sent you. I wore this black skirt with like pink stars on it from Trip, TRIPP. Have you ever? God, yes. That's the brand.
Of course,
the brand. And it was the punkiest little thing. And I remember, I mean, this is early 2000s, guys. Well, mid 2000s. I wore like a belt around my hips, like you could kind of see it. It wasn't around my waist; it was around my hips. I wore this belt with it, and then I wore like this black shirt that was like. It was like, wanted, looking for skater boy. Love me or I'll leave me. I remember that shirt.
Oh my god.
So it was this like punky outfit. And I don't really know where it came from. I was just attracted to these particular clothes. And I wore that my first day of 7th grade. And the second day, I wore this like purple ruffly shirt and shorts. And I remember one of my friends at the time, who was like so mature and like just so cool, such a scene girl. She was like, what are you doing? Like, you went total punk day one, and now you're just like total prep and blah, blah, blah. And I remember that sticking with me. Like, for so long, I thought that you could only be one style. Like, that it was inconsistent with your personality to change up what you're wearing.
Right. Yeah.
Because this girl was just the coolest. She was like, I think she was a year older. I had met her in honor orchestra the year prior. That's how I already knew her the first day of 7th grade.
That's how cool she was.
Yeah. She was, okay. She was the stand-up bass to my 3rd chair, first violin. And it's just known. Bass clef, they're the cool ones. Like, violins, you're just uptight. You're always fucking competing for one fucking chair. And the bass is like, I don't even think they're tuning in half the time. So
nor are they tuned.
So she was just a cool bitch. And I also remember this other moment with her. We had PE together, and I've had huge tits all my life. I just have. But I didn't get like full-blown wired bras probably until like a day after this particular story, because I saw this bitch. She probably had like B's maybe. And she was changing in the locker room and had like full-on wire bras every day. And I was like, this bitch is so cool. Everything about her.
This is your friend This is your friend.
This is the same friend.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
The same friend who was kind of a bitch that I changed outfits. So my point being, she was just super cool and mature, and her opinion meant a lot to me. Right. She was alternative, okay? Yeah. And and so I just felt like I could only be unguiltily goth, I guess, on Halloween. And so I did it for years, probably from 12 to like 15, 16 or so. I was always a vampire, a witch, or like a fairy. And that's what I did.
And so it felt different enough from your regular day wear, right?
Oh yeah. Because these were like long cloaky dresses. There wasn't a whole lot back. Like, I feel like it was harder to find those clothes back in the day, and especially for plus size. I was a plus size girl, and it's hard to find clothes, period. So when someone is critiquing your clothing, it's kind of a bitch move, because I'm just trying to wear what I can wear. And well, this was Jesus. This was like 15 years ago, right? Well, no. Mm-hmm. This is like, 14, 15 years ago. And it's not easy to find these things.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm doing the best I can, bitch.
Yeah.
So now plus size clothing has come really far. It's not where it needs to be still. This is my diatribe. So these like cloakier dresses and stuff, they weren't necessarily easy to come by. And even Hot Topic back in the day didn't have plus size.
Yeah.
And that was where most of, the teens got their gothy looks.
Right.
And online shopping wasn't as big either. So, it definitely was different. I never went, because I would do like black lipstick, black eyeliner, black nails. And it's not that intense now, like I would do that now. But back then I was not that far. All I wanted, honestly, was the simple like band tee and jeans.
Yeah.
For a long time, and my mom would put a cap on how many band tees I could get. So
I see. I'm starting to see it. Okay.
Is it out unfolding in your eyes?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Witchy. I love Dark Fairy. Dark Fairy Gabby needs to come back.
You know what's funny is I had these huge wings with one of the fairy outfits, and I couldn't get into doors. It was so hard. And I don't know why, but I wore it in class and no one could see over my fucking wings. So this is junior high where you have, it's not cool really to have a backpack. So you're like carrying your books and stuff. So I'm just carrying these wings with these books and running into doors and running into people and no one can see past me. That was me in my dark fairy life. So that brings us to what you probably will recognize in me, but the slutty phase.
Yes.
And
I've been waiting for this one, man.
And we all, here on this podcast, we use slutty very endearingly. We do not believe in slut shaming because we identify as slut. That's our spirit animal.
Completely. That's my blood type.
Exactly. It's everything. So I started to kind of want to be slutty. Obviously in high school, couldn't go full there. But I was a flapper, I think, my last year. And it was kind of short. It wasn't super slutty, but like that was kind of like what I was starting to get into was like shorter things.
Yeah.
And in college, you kind of go full force. And the first year I was a police officer. I think that might still be the sluttiest thing I've ever worn. It was...
Wait, period? Or just costume?
Costume wise, probably.
Okay.
Let's not get crazy.
Damn, I should have seen this.
It was like 2 sizes too small. That's the key here for a lot of these slutty things. Usually at least a size smaller. And the boobs were out, the butt was out, everything was out, okay? Yes. And, police uniform is just cute. Liz was a SWAT team person one year, and that was hot as hell. And it's just, I don't know what it is. Law enforcement, it works for the sluts. And here's what the slutty phase was. It was an excuse to be a slut, and my mom couldn't say anything. Same thing as the goth phase. Yeah. And not that she could say anything in college, but in that police uniform freshman year, we had a failed frat attempt. This was pre-Liz. Liz was not in my life yet. Yep. She was on the cusp. She was hanging over there, maybe thinking about me.
In your area. Yeah, we were bordering each other's zones, but not in each other's zones.
Yeah, not quite yet. She was coming later, but freshman year, there was a lot of failed frat attempts for our friend group. I don't know why. Like, frat row, they didn't update their bulletins, let us know when parties were on, when they were canceled, who was having them, where, when. And sometimes we had guys in our groups, and you just can't get in with a dude. And we should analyze this on a separate podcast. There's a whole lot. But, so so we went back and had like a club party in my room. It was the first time I'd hosted people for like a club atmosphere. It was like 4 of us. It's fine.
That can be a club sometimes.
Yeah.
I've been in clubs and seen there's only 2 other people.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And honestly, if you're drunk enough, doesn't matter.
Yeah, literally.
We weren't drunk during this particular club party, but it was fun. Those are some endearing pictures. And I think the day or 2 after, we wanted to go and actually do something. So a few of us got in the car or a cab. Back then, guys, Uber wasn't a thing, or maybe it was barely a thing.
The cab stories.
You had to do cabs. And it's crazy because they're so fucking expensive.
And they're so small, and we try to hide people.
Yeah. So this is still freshman year. We're going to a club in Hollywood, and it takes us an hour to get there because of traffic on Halloween. And we go into this club and we dance, and it's fun, but I don't know. It's like October of your freshman year. You're still getting to know everyone. You're still getting to know who you are. I personally was not a partier in high school, so going out and like dancing in front of other people wasn't a thing that I did very often. Even in high school venues, the lights are dimmer. It's just a different vibe with the high school. And so it was fun. It could have been way funner, but it was fun. One of our friends was a Cookie Monster, and he was hot as fuck. I mean, like temperature hot.
Physically, yeah.
Yeah. And he was like carrying around a cookie, and everyone was playing with the cookie, and he had to take his little head off. There's also an endearing photo. I should have made a slideshow before we did this. Yeah. And so that was fun with the police uniform. And I remember it was the first time a guy asked me to dance in college.
Was when you were a police officer?
It was when I was a police officer. And I said no.
Wow.
I said no.
What was going through your head?
I wasn't comfortable just dancing by myself, let alone with a dude. Yeah. Like, and mind you, like, even now, you don't really dance with guys normally. It's like all grinding.
It's weird.
If some guy comes up to you in a club, he wants you to grind your ass on him. He doesn't want to like twist and shout, you know? Yeah. So I'm still not really comfortable with grinding in front of friends. It's weird. So,
I kind of love it. I'm like, isn't this funny?
Oh my god. Well, you're a different breed.
Yeah.
The next one is the like sort of the Mean Girls trope of just put on a slutty ass dress and some animal ears. Right. Did that a few times. Borrowed cat ears. Borrowed, I think, mouse ears. It's total Mean Girls. And it's a lazy costume, and it's an excuse to wear a slutty ass dress and some ears. Did you ever do that, Liz?
Not truly. No, not truly. I get too into costumes to want to leave it at the ears.
Yeah. No, I feel ya. The thing with Halloween in college is you have like 3 or 4 things to go to usually. Yeah. And sometimes you always have to wear a different costume to each. I don't know why the fuck. And you know, for one of them I think I did some ears. So the next one you'll know, my disco ball dress.
Oh, I love this one.
And so me and our mutual friend, we need to give her a code name because we mention her a lot. What should her code name be?
I'm not exactly sure which one you're talking about yet.
The little angry one.
Should she be like Red Hot or
Hot Tamale?
Tamale.
Or yeah. Red Ant.
Red.
Ay. Just Red.
Red. Yeah, we'll call her Red.
So Red. Oh my god, I have to sneeze.
It's gonna be okay. This gives me shift position. Oh, it's okay. You can sneeze a couple more times if you need to.
I think I might actually be okay. Okay, so our friend, we'll call her Red, and I went down to the Ross in Westwood, and we're trying to come up with something for a costume. We were past the date. Well, Red was never into this phase, but I was past the days of wanting to go spend $60 on a costume.
Yep.
So we went to Ross, and I ended up finding this shiny, sequined silver dress that was, again, 2 sizes too small. That took a crazy amount of maneuvering to get into. It's the kind of dress that you're sweating to get into it.
Yeah.
You want to give up halfway through. At one point, it's on your head, and you don't know where everything is. Your arms are dangling on the top. Like, it's one of those moments, okay?
Yeah, I completely agree. I've had a lot of those.
Yeah. But
getting out of a dress.
Yeah. Oh my god. You're not sure if they're gonna have to fucking cut you out of it to get out. So I'm putting this dress on. I'm contemplating getting Red in there to fucking help me. And it finally comes on. And it looks gorgeous. I don't think to this day I've ever felt better in a dress. And
that's so cool.
It's interesting because technically it didn't fit. Everything was popping out. My boobs were up on my chin. My butt was a breath from being out. Okay, it did not fit, but it looked good. The dress was kind of tight enough, and it was just, sometimes material hides your belly, and so it kind of made me look firmer in the stomach area, and then it accentuated the things that you accentuate when you're fucking like 20 years old. And let's be real, I still accentuate them. It's fine. So it looked great. So I bought it, deciding that I was going to be a disco ball. And we went to like the Halloween store after that, and I think I got like a glass mask. And just decided that was it. Oh, and I did my hair like Farrah Fawcett. And I was like, see guys, I'm a disco ball.
That was so cute.
Yeah. And that was our first like major house party. Was that night, and it was a costume party, and Liz was there. She was late, I think.
I was late. I was very late.
And you were dressed. What were you dressed as?
I was dressed as like a zombie prom queen. Was my intention. Right. But part of the reason I was so late was because it wasn't happening the way that I wanted it to. I had gotten like this special effects kind of makeup. I had this like bright pink bodycon strapless dress with like a peplum kind of waist. And it just was like very, it was cute and it was teensy. And I was like, this kind of looks like a weird prom dress. So I'll make a little sash. I'll put blood on my chest and face so it looks like I got attacked or something.
Yeah.
And this will be my look. But I don't know. I'll revisit that.
Why didn't you wear that dress? You wore a blue dress in lieu of this pink dress.
I wore the pink one.
Did you?
Yeah.
I feel like I just saw a picture of us and you were in that blue dress.
No, the blue dress that I wore in Vegas?
Yeah.
No, it was a pink dress.
I need a fact checker. When are we going to hire a fact checker?
I know.
Okay, you're probably right. You know what you wore that night better than I do. And
over it.
Yeah, it was a fun time. One of the funnest times I think I've ever had.
Yeah, that was a good party.
Because we controlled the playlist.
Yeah.
What did you say?
It was over too soon.
It was. Well, that's because you were late.
Yeah. I didn't know it was going to end so early.
I know. I'm just kidding. And, so yeah, that I think is my favorite costume to date. And it's interesting because I feel like it was, and this was a lot of me, right? I very much not controlled, but I was the biggest advocate for the fashion that needed to be worn by everyone. Like,
that's right. That's still true.
Yeah, like, nobody listens to me, right? But I'm still the loudest advocate. And I somehow, like, it's a slutty atmosphere in college. Everyone was as slutty as possible. Go down front row. People are wearing way less than our group ever wore. Yeah. And so in our group, I was the slut-gateer. Like, I was the slut-gateer. I was the one with the megaphone being like, shorter.
Yeah.
Higher. Less. So I remember Red. So Red was wearing this, like, that girl doesn't give a fuck about anything. So she was wearing some dress that she always wears. And some wings, I think. And we just, like, unzipped the front of her dress so her bra was showing. Why did we do that? I don't know.
Yeah.
But what does it really... Why is it at this age... You could argue that many people go through this slut phase. And where do you think that comes from?
Okay, where does it come from? I mean, I think for a lot of people, right, obviously they're away from their parents for the first time. Maybe not your freshman year, but probably by, sophomore or junior year, you've got, like, a friend group that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
And it's kind of exciting to support your friends through their, like, early sexuality, and, like, being their wingman and talking about all the new experiences they're having, because you're still, like, young enough and haven't encountered enough that probably what they're experiencing, either you've only done once or you've never done it or something. And so you're just excited when anyone in the squad, like, gets pushed into some, like, ridiculous situation, because you're there to protect them too.
Yeah, for sure. I remember this lovely, oh my gosh, Liz, I'm so sorry. But this lovely night in which Liz and I were too drunk to get into a club.
No, literally, it was just you who was too drunk.
You were also I wasn't here alone.
I was cleared to go in, but we couldn't because of you.
Okay, fine. Okay. Don't make me bring up that time you threw up in the cab, okay?
I would never make you bring that up.
So I was too drunk to get into this club. So we're walking down Hollywood Boulevard. Liz is gone, by the way.
Yeah.
She went home. But me and Red went up and down Hollywood Boulevard for what seemed like 5 years, but it was probably 10 minutes, screaming her name as if that's going to help, calling her, and she's not answering, which we found out later. This is when Liz realizes that she's drunker than she should be. She has, like, a fight or flight response.
I do.
And just goes back to home base like a robot.
Yeah. So I'm always like, I wake up and I'm like, what happened? How did I get home? Thank God drunk me gets me home.
Yeah, so drunk Liz, she's got her back. But there's this part where I'm, like, crying in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard with Red. And some creepy ass guy, which in hindsight could have been a kind guy, could have been a potential soulmate for either one of us. He's like, are you guys okay? And Kelly and I, it's like we grow fangs, turn around, whip our heads around, really. And we're like, go the fuck away, leave us alone!
Yep, I love that.
Just warriors, right? Like, it's interesting how you can have your ass out on Hollywood Boulevard, weeping, and you're still going to protect yourself and those around you. Because the moral here is the slut is empowered and empowering. Yeah. Not the opposite. So.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm not completely out of my slut phase. I don't think I will be. Again, I identify as slut. Mm-hmm. So, the only really post slut phase there is the character phase, which I think I am in now as well. It's like you kind of want a cute costume that is a cool character and is like, oh, I've always wanted to be that, or I've always wanted to be that. So, like this Halloween, I'm considering being Selena because I'm Mexican and probably could just like do one thing and pull it off. But like you want to be someone. So like I've been Buffy before. 1 year I was Axel. Axel from Guns N' Roses. And one of our friends was Slash. And it's
Those
the best couples.
Are still my favorite.
Yeah, it's one of the best couples costumes I've ever been a part of. Red like did the like Axl Rose tattoo.
Yeah,
we did.
She inked you up. It was so cute.
She did. It was really cute. And I wore my like schoolgirl red skirt, like Kizzy always used to wear his kilts. And that was also the night Liz was a SWAT team officer. It was just the perfect night. And we went to a friend's house party that we went to a lot senior year. And
I didn't go to this person's house a lot. This was
really?
Maybe the only time I was there. Yeah.
Well, the rest of us went a lot.
Yeah.
And Liz was with us. It was a fun night. It's always fun over there. And that's really what Halloween and costumes are about. It's just an excuse to get together and comment on what people are wearing and say like, oh, you watch that too? Let's compare our interests.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So that's kind of my costume journey. Do you have any questions or concerns?
I mean, so many concerns, so many questions, but I think it makes sense to me. Yeah. I like where you took us, bro.
Thanks, bro.
I feel like it's funny because, like, you know, we have, like, 10 years of shared kind of Halloween history, but, like, I think both of us, when we wrote these stories, are kind of centering on, like, a lot of childhood stuff because it is so important in that, like, identity seeking that goes on in costuming.
It's true. And it's also notable that Liz and I, we can't currently be together because of COVID.
Right.
And distance.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're making these to-do lists for next year and things we want to do. And prominent at the top of that list is, like, to visit all these goth clubs and just be happy and free and goth.
Totally.
All comes full circle.
I love that. Yeah.
And this is unironic.
No, it's completely, I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
I need to be there.
You will be.
I need that industrial.
Yes, we're oh my god. That played at the last golf club I was at, and it
plays at every golf club.
It's just, let's have a whole podcast dedicated to Rob Zombie, please.
Oh my god, it did come up in the challenge, huh? Dedicated listeners.
Oh my god, yeah. Our loyalist fans will know. They're like, yep, remember that. It was season 1, episode 7.
Yeah. Okay, I loved that journey, Gabby. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome, girl. So we'll see you next time, guys.
Yep, goodbye.
Just kidding.
If you need to take a break, now's the time, because I'm about to...
Oh, no.
I don't know if this is really a journey, because I don't know. Our brains are similar, but they're not identical.
We're different people?
I know. Isn't that weird? So the thing that I kind of got stuck on this week in thinking about costumes is that, like, trying to figure out whether I was a shy kid, actually. You know, because we're adults now, right? Like, when we interact with kids, we definitely see that there are shy children.
Yeah.
But there's lots of them who are also, like, not shy at all. Just, like, in your face, want to touch you, like, doing annoying kid shit, you know? But I bet if you asked a lot of adults whether if they were shy kids, most of them would say yeah. Because everyone kind of feels shy, right? Like, most people feel shy on a certain level.
Yeah.
I think. So I was just kind of, like, wondering whether I feel like I was shy, but was I actually shy? You know?
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about, like, my childhood and reasons why I was or wasn't shy. I remember, here's one reason why I think I was shy. I was a kid who, like, when I was really little, like, kindergarten, or, like, first grade even, I brought, like, stuffed animals around. Like, I brought stuffies to school.
Oh, my.
Even, which gave me, like, something else to interact with besides, like, other kids, just in case, you know? Like, okay. I usually would still interact with people, but I had this thing, like, a backup. I remember bringing a stuffed animal to my first concert, right? Because it was, like, a Shania Twain concert or something.
She prefers to have stuffed animals thrown on stage?
Well, I just was scared. I needed a comfort thing around me.
Okay, so hold on. Let's unpack this.
Huh.
So,
okay.
When was the Shania concert?
I must have been, like, 4 or 5. It was actually at the Greek Theater in Berkeley.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. So, like, a nice open thing.
Okay. And when did you stop bringing these stuffed animals?
I mean, it was probably, like, soon after I started school. Like, okay. It was just, like, for that intro period. I felt like I needed it.
It's like a security blanket for you.
Yeah. Okay. But even, like, growing a bit older, another reason why I think I was shy or definitely had that tension was because my dad especially would always say that my shoulders were, like, up around my ears. And he would always, like, grab them and try to, like, pry them down for me, you know? Just because I think I was, like, hiding in my body a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, as a kid, you know? And I still have really tense shoulders. So I think I was shy, is my point. And so I kind of feel like because I was a shy kid, and I qualified this, costumes were actually always really important to me, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like I was similar to you. Like, every Halloween, I always dressed up. Even from, like, a young age, I was, like, a puppy. I was a princess. I fell into, like, a witch stage, probably at, like, first grade, where I was just witch, like, back to back to back. And when I thought about Halloween, of course I was excited to, like, get candy or go trick-or-treating with my friends. But whether it was Halloween or, like, going to the Renaissance Fair or, like, if I took, like, a weird after-school dance class and there was going to be a dance performance at school, I was always thinking about, like, the costume first.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, we gotta get thinking about this immediately, guys. That was kind of my feeling. Even, like, projects in school where we had to dress up as someone. I remember we had, like, historical figure kind of days.
Oh, my goodness.
Or if we had to do a play, you had to dress up. So I just think that for that part of my life, and I'm probably talking up until, like, about 5th grade here, costumes were just, like, a way of letting people kind of see me, but only every now and then in a way that I chose and that, like, I invested time into so that I could, like, kind of control it, you know?
Almost like an extension of the security blanket that was your stuffed animals.
Yeah. Right? It was, like, a kind of comfortable, I don't know. When you're shy, how people see you is important. And so, like, a costume, I think, for me, means that you're going to be the subject of attention. Even if you're not the center of attention, someone's going to ask you, what are you? You know? And I think, like, that moment, I needed to, like, have some kind of control in when it was going to happen.
Interesting. So...
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I'm, like, psychoanalyzing us.
No, I know.
This is what happens every time me and Liz talk.
Right, yeah.
Do you feel as though you were trying to control it so that you could have people ask who you are? You desired to tell people who you were?
I don't know. That's a funny question. I'm not sure. I think like there was also a piece of me that like I related to the costume that I wanted to be, and I wanted people to see me as that and not think that it was like a joke or something, probably. Yeah. Just because kids are so sensitive about stuff, and I was totally that way too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I feel like that kind of era was like me still feeling like I was in that shy kid zone, you know? I think like as I got into my adolescence, I kind of, puberty kind of forces you into like a different kind of squad sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what like happened for me around that age, and kind of starting in 5th grade. So by this point, like my mom had really invested a lot of time and basically in helping me learn how to sew. And one of the projects that year was my Halloween costume, which, do you remember, I mean, you talked about Hot Topic around this period of time, so maybe you remember those Living Dead dolls that they sold at like Hot Topic.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So there was one that was dressed as like a gothic cheerleader.
Yes.
I had to be it. Yeah. So it was kind of skanky, right? So she had like a pleated black and red, like cheerleader skirt. Mm-hmm. I bought like black and red pom-poms at a Halloween store.
Yes.
I had thrifted a sweater, and I'd sewn on this like felted occult symbol onto it. It's like the Leviathan cross. So it's like this like Satan's cross.
Yeah.
On it. I did my hair in pigtails. I had black lipstick. And
did you do fishnets?
It was pretty cute. What?
Was it like fishnets, legs bare?
Oh. I can't remember. It was probably some kind of like stocking, or it was skanky for sure. Yeah. It might have been knee socks,
I approve.
Yeah. And it definitely like I felt like it deserved attention, because I had worked on it. I had like sewn it myself in a way, so like it was just kind of fun.
Yeah.
And like pretty soon after that, I started going to anime conventions, and that was like with my best friends growing up. And that dressing up for that was kind of even better because like Halloween only happens once a year. Anime conventions happen lots of times a year.
Right.
Also, at the time, they felt kind of like niche, like not everyone was going, and most importantly, there were no parents around. And if we were there the whole weekend, it was like a 4-day long sleepover in a hotel, and our supervision were my older sister and her friends, because my older sister being 7 years older.
Who signed off on this?
Yep. It was like 19-year-olds taking care of like 12-year-olds.
Oh my God.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like you had your mini college slutty phase at 12.
Yep. Thank you for seeing me.
Shout out to the sisters.
Yeah, and it was just really fun because it was like my 2 best friends and my sister and her friends in this hotel room eating junk food. And part of that time was also like me and my friends kind of, and maybe it was me more than them, like maybe this was mostly in my head, but I had so many ideas about what could happen at these cons. Like, if we do costumes really good this year, guys, like we can make friends with really good cosplayers, and then we can talk to them all year round on the internet. Or like, what if some boys come and talk to us, and then we'd have a cute like anime boyfriend person. And what if you could cosplay with them? That was okay. As I got older, and the girls kind of wanted to do costumes like less and less, they had like actual teenage interests coming up. But I was stuck on this, I, like, still wanted a boyfriend, but I wanted, like, a anime boyfriend to do this shit with. I just wanted it more and more because, like, the girls were also, like, kind of slipping away, too. And this is still something that I feel like is false, but I still have the idea about that, like, I need someone to motivate me, or, like, I need someone to, like, be by my side for me to do something difficult. Mm-hmm. It's not true, but it certainly helps, right? Mm-hmm. And I was just, like, so certain this was the way it had to happen. So that was, like, high school, you know, the end of high school. I didn't really go to anime conventions in college because they were always during finals, basically. So I never really, like, had that dream come true, even though I did have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Just didn't really happen. But, like you mentioned, college was a time that I could finally fulfill this other fantasy that I'd had for a while. Which was, I don't know about you, but I always thought it would be amazing to meet someone sexy at a Halloween party. You know? Like, I love the idea of meeting someone cool at a club because that's fun.
Yeah.
I've, like, met some people at clubs. It's normally not that great. But meeting someone at a Halloween party just sounds so much fun. More fun, honestly. And anyway,
because of the costumes?
Yeah, and the vibe. I just love Halloween.
Yeah.
The spookiness, the, like, yeah, the ways everyone goes and takes it a different direction. So, yeah, a sexy Halloween party experience. And when I think about this, I think about this comic, I imagine. Yeah, this is kind of a tangent, but there's this Canadian comic that I bought at this anime convention, of course, called Always Raining Here. It's really cute. But the, like, the person who illustrated it made this really cute poster of, like, the two main characters at a Halloween party. And for a long time, this was, like, my phone background. Like, I, like, just was really into this picture because there's one that's dressed as kind of like a last minute sort of skeleton hoodie situation, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, casual. Like, just kind of threw it on, happened to have a skeleton hoodie kind of thing. And then there's the little one. And something about the drawing and, like, the little one's, like, holding a little drink and is all, like, flirty and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just so clear from it that, like, this person is not usually like this, you know? Like, doesn't really step out of his shell much. But because it's Halloween and the drinks are poured, the cat ears come on, and it's like you see someone sexy at a party, especially somebody that you, like, have already been looking at for a bit, but he looks especially good tonight. I don't know. That's just the vibe for me.
When was this party?
What?
What was this party?
I mean, this is just in a picture, but this is, like, my fantasy of it.
No, I mean, you said you got to live that out in college.
Well, at this fucking party
at
that
my
you
party
too, not your house party. Okay, let me explain.
Okay, I was like, I made this come alive for you.
Okay, because this was the year that I wore the sexy SWAT officer costume that you mentioned. Because it was my roommate's. And like you mentioned, I went to so many parties that year that I was, like, running out of costumes, which is why I had to borrow my friends. It was a bit big on me, which kind of kept it less slutty in a way. But yeah, we pre-gamed at your apartment. We took some really cute pictures that like I still look at now, and they send me straight back to, like, taking those pictures.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't, you know, I kind of knew whose place we were going to, but, like, I don't know. It was kind of bumping, though. So, like, and this was, like, my first kind of opportunity to have a sexy Halloween encounter because, like, for context, I was with my high school boyfriend up until the end of my junior year. So senior year was my first and only, like, single Halloween at school.
Yeah.
I know, this sounds like I'm bragging or something, but I'm really, I don't know.
So
anyway,
this party, this is the party that we all went to.
Yep.
Okay. Copy.
Coffee. So the party. I mostly remember, like, hanging out on the balcony a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we were on the balcony a lot, whole squad, talking,
Pictures
taking
on the balcony.
pictures.
Yeah.
Dude, there are pictures. And I remember in one of them, I'm, like, touching the dude that you guys knew, but I didn't know him on that level,
I
but I'm, like,
need
touching
you to
him.
tell me who this is, and I know you won't, because he's listening, but I need to know
What?
who this is.
Well, okay, yeah. So I just remember in some of those pictures, I'm touching somebody a bit too comfortably, and they look like visibly not into it.
Aww. Was it me?
Ugh, no. It's like one of the hosts of the party.
Okay, and was that the
Anyway.
someone that you had the sexual encounter with?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm trying to follow.
Yeah. Okay. So we were on the balcony, blah, blah, blah. But I fell into a conversation with this guy who I'll call Peter because I was Peter Pan at a different party a couple days later.
Copy.
So I'll call him Peter. And I don't remember much about him. I definitely can't picture his face. He was a philosophy major. That's something I remember.
Okay.
I can't remember the conversation being that special, but, like, we went inside for a drink, and then in the kitchen we started, like, making out, and then basically we went back to his place, which was, we did the deal.
Right? What the fuck was I doing during all of this? Jesus.
SWAT officer costume came off.
Oh my god. You know what? You did disappear because you weren't in the later pictures. By then, we'd learned not to look for Liz. We're like, whatever.
Yeah. So I was at this dude's place having, like, a pretty, I don't know, in the scheme of things, fairly mediocre sexual experience.
Okay.
But, I don't know. Like, just to revisit this kind of theme of costumes being the time when you're being seen.
Yeah.
Hooking up at a Halloween party is kind of like being seen one way and then taking it all off and being seen another way.
There's an unveiling of who you really are.
Right? Yeah. And, this guy, we, like, texted a little bit, kind of thought about maybe hooking up a second time, but it never really happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know, even when I date these days, I feel like getting ready is also almost like putting on a costume too. And I kind of think about this, like, Halloween party moment because this was, like, one of my first, like, sexual experiences with, like, an American boy at, after being with my high school boyfriend for so long.
Yeah.
And, honestly, like, it's not that I regret it, but it would have been probably more fun to stay with you guys at that party, right?
Right.
But I think something in me needed to fucking have this experience, like, once,
Yeah. No,
and
I get that.
Yeah. Right? And the party where I was Peter Pan, right? I also got close to having a fucking... But I didn't, because I kind of learned from this one.
Yeah. But there's always something to be said for just staying with your group, because it's a guaranteed good time.
Yeah.
And exactly. The other thing is a guaranteed, more than likely, a letdown. In some way.
I know. Yeah. But this is kind of like what I was thinking about, like, and yeah, there's been Halloween since leaving college. I think, like, generally, I've played it pretty safe, or I haven't really had a chance to be at, like, a big anonymous Halloween gathering since college,
God,
right?
This should also be in our list for next year.
Right, for
Halloween
sure.
Rave something.
Oh my God, we gotta do it. Yeah, but the costumes, like I said, you're the subject of attention, but to make an argument for sticking with your friends, like, attention doesn't really matter so much when it's people that you already know who you are too. And that's kind of like the nice thing about friends, is that they support, like, your whatever transformation journey, you figuring out who you are. while knowing that there's going to be kind of this constant who you are to each other, that's not going to change even with all the other stuff that's going on. So, like, and sometimes, like, especially since college, I've gone through the dumps, we can say.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, sometimes the costume doesn't matter that much, but it's that we tend to use it just to keep track of what fucking year it was, you know, or, like, what hijinks, you know, we got up to. But, like, basically my point is that even, like, the year that I was, like, late to that party, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I was trying so hard to make it look good and I was trying to keep it together and da-da-da-da-da. Even when you just put the bare minimum in, you know, maybe you or Red would be like, Liz, what the fuck? Or whatever. But it's mostly like, if that's all you have, they're just glad that you're there.
Yeah.
You know? And that's kind of what, like, Halloween is, too. Is, like, costumes can be fun and you can be your friend's wingman and stuff with the costumes, on or off. But... yeah. It's kind of about letting your mask down around the people that you like, you know?
Yeah, and that's because they've already seen behind the mask, you know? Yeah. There's no facade, and when you're around people that you know so well, you've seen the best and the worst of them. You can tell when someone's being annoying, when they're annoying you, when you need to leave them alone, when you need to be there. You start to learn all these things, and the mask isn't necessary.
Yeah.
And I think also something I've realized as I've gotten older, if I want to use kind of your analogy of putting the mask on before you go out, just like putting makeup, hair.
Yep.
I still do that, like, because it's really the only time I do. I don't wear makeup to work because I work out right before work. So if I'm going out, I'm going to go full ham.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I try so hard to control my timing as best as I can, because I've been the bitch late to the pregame.
You're always the bitch. Yeah.
I'm putting on my makeup while everyone's like playing cards or something, and
yeah,
I would so much rather be playing cards and just talking to my friends. I love games. I love controlled fun. I'm a camp counselor. What do you want me to do about it? So I would rather be doing that than putting on my makeup by myself, because the other bitches, Liz is the only one that puts makeup on with me, and she's always done faster. She never her hair's always like just done after 5 seconds. She's like, this is what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm like, okay. So I just try to figure out a way to make sure I'm there for the event with or without the mask.
Yep.
So it's an interesting balance, because you want to feel good when you're out and about, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but there is still that desire to put on costumes and stuff. And
yeah,
why do we still do that?
You know, like, the mask doesn't matter, like, people know who you are, but I feel like that kind of makes the costume aspect of it, like, that much more fun when it's just you and your friends, you know? Like, you can really push each other to, like, even do something that's, like, coordinated, or just, like, I'm gonna go all out, you better go all out kind of feeling. And that's, like, fun, too, because I think that's what I really wanted in high school when I was thinking, like, oh, I want a boyfriend to cosplay with me. Yeah. Like, I want people to have a good fucking time with. And if that needs the structure of, like, we're gonna get dressed up to do it, then so be it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, yeah. Happy Halloween, Gabby.
Happy Halloween, Liz.
And now, time for a break.
Okay, bye. Okay. The craft.
Okay. So, when did the craft come out? Do you know? It was like 1996.
I think it was 96.
Oh my god. Yeah. And when was the first time you watched it?
I don't know. But I want to say it was probably like 7 or 8. No,
Yeah.
because if it came out in 96, yeah. So I must have been like maybe 7 or 8.
Yeah, I think for me,
Not when
it
it
was
came
like a
out, but when I
friend.
saw it.
Yeah, a friend already had it on like VHS or something, and we watched it then. But let's like do a quick recap of what it's about, just if you haven't seen it. It's kind of
No, I got
honestly
it.
watching
I got
it. Oh, you got it. You
It's
got it. Okay.
Mean Girls, but with witchcraft.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen The Craft, a new girl comes to town. I think she moved from San Francisco
To LA.
to this town. Yeah. Oh, it's LA.
It's LA.
I forgot.
Yeah.
And
The town of
they all go to, I think, a Catholic school, right?
Yep.
A Catholic schoolgirl,
It's
thing
co-ed.
here.
Right.
It is co-ed, yes, which adds such a layer.
Yeah.
And she kind of has had weird stuff happen. She thinks she might have some powers.
Mm-hmm.
She gets teased, goes and cries in the bathroom, and her 3 best friends walk into her life.
Yeah.
These crazy goth-looking outcasts, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And then they become a foursome, and they all kind of...
Yeah, she joins their
witchcraft.
circle. So, yeah.
Yes.
These girls have already been fucking with witchcraft, but they need, as we all know, you need a 4th, right? Because you need to go north, south, east, west. You need to summon from all 4 corners. You need earth, wind, fire, water. You need it all to be, like, rounded and square. And it turns out that whatever her name is...
Can't believe you can be both rounded and square.
Yes. That's... Okay. Yes. And she's like a powerful natural witch. She hasn't had to like study like the other girls do. And also like because the other girls have studied, it's because they already have things that they want and they want to use this magic for. And so like her coming into their lives kind of like unlocks them to do some kind of shitty things to like people they go to school with or people in their family. Not to spoil the craft, but shit gets heated. Like there is a reckoning.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head there with the fact that they all have these wants and desires. At least the other 3 do.
Yeah.
So these 4 girls are outcasts, not just because they're gothier than the other ones. You have one who is like, she's really poverty stricken, living in a trailer, and she's got a kind of a floozy mother with a boyfriend who is abusive and kind of sexually imposing on the young girl's space. And you can imagine that that's happened over and over again her whole life. Mm-hmm. You have one she's kind of like maybe got in a fire or something, and has all these burns on her back, and so she's very self-conscious. Is always
Bonnie, and her name's Bonnie.
Her name's Bonnie. Always wearing oversized clothes, always has her head in a book. Liz,
I love her.
Just imprinted on this bitch from the beginning.
The first time I watched it, I always thought Bonnie was the prettiest. And watching it as an adult. Right. Well, let's introduce the other ones, right?
Okay. And then there's Rochelle, who she's kind of, I call her the more superficial of the 4. Mm-hmm. We don't get a whole lot about her home life. Her biggest issue is that she's got kind of like a mean girl kind of making fun of her and stuff. And so that's where her desire comes from.
And it's interestingly like intersects with like the mean girl being literally from the Brady Bunch. Jan.
No, she's Marsha in the Brady Bunch.
She's Marsha, yeah. And Rochelle being like short, natural hair, black girl. Like still obviously really cute because it's a fucking movie, but yeah.
Definitely some racist vibes from Marsha that we're not fully delved into.
Right.
Some of those things, I was like, what?
I know.
Who says that?
The 90s, I don't know. They tabled it. Because the main shit is between Sarah, who's the main girl, and Nancy, who's this kind of, like, wild... She's the, like, white trash one that you were just talking about. Yeah. She's really spiteful.
She's the most desperate.
She's desperate.
Yeah. Because she's got such a life that she wants to escape, that she is like, she's completely outcasted at school. Nobody likes her.
Yeah.
She obviously has the most aggressive personality, and so she kind of ostracizes herself a little bit.
Yeah.
And so she has the most to gain and the less to lose, I'd say.
Yeah, so they're like playing around, they like form a circle, they all kind of put spells into motion that start like playing off like what they want, right? So for Bonnie, so straightforward, she like hates the way she looks with these scars, right? She wants to be like free, so she puts her like spell towards like looking beautiful. For Rochelle, she's just like sick of Marsha. So
who isn't?
Yeah. So she
Marsha all the fucking time.
She targets it all basically into making Marsha lose her hair.
Yeah, and this just for the viewers, the listeners.
For JGL.
This is the parody Marsha, not actual Maureen Cormick or whatever her name is. Yeah. This is parody Marsha. Okay, go ahead.
But then for Sarah, you know, we think of, she's supposed to be this like white witch character. And she's got a stupid like thing with the guy at school that she just met. But she's like, I want this guy to be into me because he just told the whole school that, like, you know, because we hung out and that we slept together, which we didn't. And I kind of still like him, but I wish that he liked me and didn't, like, disrespect me, basically.
Yeah, that all happened so quickly because she clearly didn't have a desire that came from anything outside of what she experienced in the last, like, 24 or 48 hours.
Yeah, that first fucking day at school. A guy dies, you know. But
but she's supposed to be that white witch, as you said. She's the purest in her magic, and maybe that's why her desire isn't contingent on anything else,
right?
Other than this dude.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like she's something that is kind of important is that she moved to LA with her dad and her stepmom, but her mom died in childbirth. She never had this like connection with her mom, really. And so her being a witch, she doesn't really know what to do with it. And the only thing that she really wants is like fucking love, right?
Yeah. Acceptance.
Yeah. And it's misguided in the form of this dude. But
yeah, it always is.
Yeah.
I will say that I think the first half of the movie is better in terms of characterization and situations because so much of their dialogue, I think, is really things that teenagers would say to each other. It's not too forced.
The dialogue's so good, yeah.
It is. The dude, he says dude things that isn't romanticized. He doesn't know what to say or do, and you can see that it's bullshit at the same time as you can see why she's falling for it. It's all, the dialogue between the girls is so good.
Yeah.
And in the beginning of the movie, you see them genuinely have compassion for each other. There's this scene where Nancy, the white trash girl, unfortunately is what she's doing right now, is praying over Bonnie and her scars on her back, and she's chanting, "I want to be beautiful," right? Something like that. And Nancy, the look on Nancy's face, she's very sad for Bonnie.
Yeah.
And because it's hard to look at that, right? And so you feel for these girls, you can tell that they feel for each other.
Yeah.
In the beginning, and then once they do like this huge spell to invoke Minot, which is like, he's the stadium that God and the devil play in.
Duh. Right? Yeah.
So he's everything.
Yeah, he's everything.
And they try to invoke him. I think it's definitely up for interpretation how much he's at play for their decisions.
Yeah. I mean, and like why I feel like it'd be interesting too to think about, because I'm coming at everything from a fanfic perspective, and especially doing so much Harry Potter fanfic, which is a witchcraft and wizardry schooling story, right? Yeah. A lot of Harry Potter is not about the mechanics of magic, But in order to write fanfic, you kind of have to think about how magic actually works and how magic works in the craft. It's like it's a very aloof and distant kind of force. These girls happen to have some kind of connection, although it's like Sarah's character who has the most natural one, and then Nancy's character who has the most like kind of twisted one and ends up inheriting all this power but using it weirdly. And it's kind of like, why, like you said, like how much is Manon at play? Like it seems to me like the message is that she's using everything for herself, but maybe it's more like because he's the stadium, literally anything is possible.
Yeah. Well, that's what there's this lady at the magic shop who is, she bestows a little bit of wisdom every now and then. And she says what we all know from watching Sabrina, Charmed, whatever the fuck we're watching, that magic isn't inherently good or evil. It's how you use it. And another thing she bestows that we also know from Sabrina and Charmed is that you can't just use it willy-nilly. You're fucking with the universe and the balance and everything. Your spells, your powers, it has to be a measured decision. And these bitches are fucking with a dude to the point where he ends up dying, unfortunately. And then Rochelle's Marcia like ends up losing all of her hair. Like they're fucking, and they're using it so negatively that I don't think there's any reprieve from that, and they just spiral further into this negativity.
I don't know, because but think about Bonnie, right? Right. And, this was something, because we talk during movies, the two of us, although it's harder with, us living far away from each other.
Yeah, because we can't always hear each other.
Yeah, because you're like, wait, what did you say?
Mostly, we're still laughing at each other. I think the commentary is key, for sure.
But something that I think was hitting me when we were watching it was just that, all of these girls' struggles, they're such feminine struggles. It's not just, obviously this is a depiction of a high school experience, and we already talked about the dialogue being good and the interactions being
realistic.
Yeah, pretty realistic, even though it's this everyone's 30 and pretending to be in French class.
We overlook those things.
Yeah. But there's always, with a movie like this, whatever their intention was, it wasn't gonna be a fucking, we're gonna sit with these characters' feelings and we're gonna just have a long shot on this actor's face and you're gonna really see that internal struggle. There's not really any of that, but all the dialogue's so good that you're kind of giving this little key, this little glimpse into all these young female issues. And so with Bonnie, she doesn't want this fucking burden of being, and most of it's coming from herself, honestly, because she's so cute, right? And I think that actress was actually the most, she was in other shit before she was
she's the most known for sure. I don't know before or after.
Well, because everybody else was so good.
Yeah, so I do understand what you're saying, because I think that
she did that.
Bonnie's hard to reconcile because she was probably the most that we felt for the most, because she seemed to have such a pure heart. She was just kind. She took to Sarah the quickest. Yep. She was just a kind chick. And then later on she became vapid. She wasn't there for Sarah when all this crazy stuff was going on. They all turn on her.
Yeah.
And you would think that at least one of the characters would pause for a second and be like, maybe we shouldn't be this mean to her. But none of them do, including Bonnie.
There's only that pause when they're literally at her house at the end. Sorry, now that we're at this point, we're spoiling this movie. But, when they're at the Spanish fancy house that she lives in.
Yeah.
And they're literally going to kill her.
Yeah.
And then they're like, man, this is boring. Shouldn't we not do this?
Yeah. Yeah. And they claim later, like, we didn't mean it to go that far.
Yeah.
But they leave only when she uses her magic on them and they, like, see, like, Rochelle's hair is falling off, like Marcia's. Bonnie's burns are back.
Yeah.
That's when they leave.
Yeah.
And so I personally wish that there had been some more character redemption. But at the same time, this is a stylistic choice.
Yeah, no,
this
you're
is
totally
something
right.
that the director or the writer could have done more of. Those long shots, just a little bit more of a struggle. And then at the end, when they go and kind of apologize and want to do a spell with Sarah, they say something bitchy.
Yeah.
And then, like, oh, she probably doesn't have powers anyway. And it's like, that's like the one chance you have of us, like, redeeming those characters in our brains, and then they don't do it. So it's clearly a stylistic choice.
Yeah, and instead Sarah, like, summons fucking the gods to, like, zap a tree branch to scare them.
Minnow!
Yeah. So, and it's one of those endings where it's kind of like, fuck you. Like, we're supposed to... I don't know. It's a confusing ending. Are we... Because I don't feel particularly connected to Sarah at the ending of the film.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't feel connected to Sarah at any point in the film.
Yeah.
I would argue that I'm connected to the other three girls more.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think that's stylistic. I think it might be a casting thing. I don't know if she was the best girl to play her. And also we don't get... I know that she lost her mother and all this stuff. I don't know why we didn't connect with her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's right. And, like, you know, we are discussing this in the context of there being a new Craft movie coming out. I didn't know about this until we were even going to watch this, but, like, I wonder, having the chance to reboot The Craft, and I imagine it's going to be really different. It's got, like, a little sub-name, so it's not trying to be the same movie, right?
Yeah.
But what kind of choices you would make for a Craft today? Right? Because The Craft, obviously, it matters so much to so many people. We're talking about it. We're loving it. Yeah. We love the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack.
Oh my god. Okay, the 1996 Craft, the outfits were... Every scene, every fucking scene... I don't know how they managed to make a Catholic school uniform so versatile.
Yeah. Well,
but every scene, it was like, what the fuck? Love this outfit.
Love it. And
the music was so good. Everything was so perfect about it. And then, have you watched the trailer for the new one?
I haven't.
I did, and it looked like a Forever 21 store threw up on these bitches.
Yeah.
Like, that fake alternative look mixed with also what they're trying to do is more like, maybe like Coachella-y outfit. I don't know. I don't know. It's like today's fashion that you would see on TikTok mixed with Forever 21 alternative. And it looks awful. It really does. None of the they look younger too.
Yeah.
The girls, and I do understand stylistically maybe you actually want to cast people who are closer to high school age than the 30-year-olds, but it's then the mood's going to be different of the movie. And so I'm not sure it's going to work out. And I'm not even sure I'm going to watch it.
We'll see where it's available and stuff. But I feel like if I was going to do The Craft, or if I had the opportunity to be part of a project like The Craft, like, yeah, I think I'd want to, like you said, like, spend more, like, character time with these bitches. Of course I want more magic, right?
Yeah.
I want shit to get wild. And, you know, like, I think you could do that part possibly better today than they were able to, right? Like, they have, like, they go out to a field and they do a little spell. They do this shit on the beach where they made the actors stand with their hands in a Y position. Yeah. For about, like, 40 different camera movements. It must have sucked on this, like, crazy windy beach. Just so they could have Nancy walking on the water and all those beach sharks. And I just don't think it hits as well as something else could have. And maybe I think it's like, you know, and even the end where, like, I think it's super when you know, Sarah's seeing all the bugs and the snakes like everywhere. That is such a good thing. And you never actually really see shit like that done as real, like on set. They had tons of snakes and scorpions and everything. Like today they probably would have CGI'd that and it might not have been, you know, it might have been more over the top, but would it have been as scary?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's also, I would argue that it's not campy in the way that we can watch it as adults 20 years after it came out, over 25 years after it came out, and the dialogue isn't campy. The acting isn't campy. Like, Nancy's eyes in some of these scenes is the scariest part of the movie. Yeah. The way that she is grabbing those whales after they've washed up and saying they're my gifts. There's so much child desperation for an escape in her voice at the same time as there's like madness and like fear invoking in us. Yeah. In her voice. And that is something that I don't think that the trailer of the new one is suggesting it has. Right. It's something campy that we can't watch in 25 years because it will be something only reminiscent of this time, whatever the director thinks is this time for teenagers.
Yeah. I also, like, one other thing about this movie is that, like, it gets pretty close. There's a scene where Sarah is almost sexually assaulted. I mean, she's assaulted, right? And she, like, runs away. But then Nancy, because she's, like, got all the power, she can do all the glamours and everything, she makes a decision to, like, basically rape the dude because she pretends to be Sarah. He's drunk. He can't consent. And he dies, like, 5 minutes later. But
yeah, and this is the part where Liz was cheering because at one point, not for the whole thing, but like Sarah's like crying to these squirrels, talking about what happened, and Nancy just like walks to this party all slowly, like ready to be a warrior for her friend, and that part was cool for sure. But then it gets a little crazy.
Yeah, and also that like there's something, you know. It's a minor subplot that, like, Nancy has history with this boy. Yeah. Right? And so, you know, her walking to the party might have been, like, for Sarah. But when she's at the party, she's there for her. And she's, like, gonna do some shit to this guy because she doesn't like him. I don't know. It's like...
Yeah, and there's the suggestion... Because he pushes her away, and she freaks out for a second. Yeah. She feels rejected just as herself. Yeah. No magic, nothing. She just feels rejected. She freaks out for a second, and then she turns herself into Sarah, and that's where the rape kind of comes in. Yeah. And so I think a big part of it not being campy is the fact that they didn't have these, like, little tender moments where you could put a piano in the background of, like... oh yeah, we went out once. He was a jerk, blah, blah, blah. Totally. Like, they just little suggestions of history that is so smart with the storytelling.
Yes. And it all happens so fast. And it does make, like, you can't, like, 100% agree with, like, any character's decision in this movie.
Because you don't understand everything, but you feel like there's something there.
And I feel like, especially when it comes to, like, modern depiction, the thing that I'm thinking about right now is this show... 13 Reasons Why.
I have not seen even one second of it. Don't watch it.
Yeah, but like...
I don't watch it.
There's a very important and like very difficult to watch sexual assault scene that for this character was kind of like a... I don't know. Was a big deal for this character. And they show it on screen and I was super like, what the fuck about it. But it's also kind of like... comparing that kind of teenager story, which includes a lot of like darkness and a lot of like characters with weird shit going on, bad things at home, things like that, and the way that they like overshare they make everything like, this is my little secret and you have to unlock it and everything has to matter to me because that's blah, blah, blah. The Craft takes such a different approach to be like, in where it chooses to spend its time. And I think that any kind of, not saying it's a perfect film,
No.
but like, I think, yeah, telling a story about this, a story about women and about powers outside your control, about fear, about sex, like, The Craft is kind of like such a tasteful, weirdly, version. And
it's so good. It is a perfect movie. It's the Citizen Kane of witchcraft.
Yeah.
And it's true though, because when you're, it's about how you want to get into the minds of your viewers. And everyone knows that if you tell us to eat something, if you tell us to do something, we don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. You can't force feed us these tender moments. You can't force feed us, you need to feel compassion for this character because this, and this. You have to do it in a smart way. It's a form of brainwashing, really. Mm-hmm. Who do you want, what feelings do you want to invoke in your audience? Mm-hmm. And I think The Craft does it in a smart way, and The Craft also does it in a way where not everyone necessarily is going to agree. Mm-hmm. Some people might really like Sarah and might feel like she was the only good one, quote unquote, in the movie. Some might think that she was the reason that the other ones ended up going off the deep end, or whatever. Maybe no one's redeemable, maybe they're all redeemable. I think we all can have at least a little compassion for Nancy in the end as well.
Yeah, for sure.
She's the one that sticks with us. Mm-hmm. She's the one where I feel bad for her the most. And I think also, to close off the conversation, I would like to ask you, what do you think magic is a metaphor for in this movie?
I mean,
I don't know if I have an answer, but because we don't know how much of it influences their decisions.
Yeah.
And they aren't best friends in the end. There's no redemption in terms of friendship. They're not friends with Sarah anymore. Nancy went crazy.
Yeah.
Are Rochelle and Bonnie even really good friends? Or are they just hanging out for convenience? Exactly. What is magic supposed to be really telling us about high school girls?
Yeah, I think, my feeling, although I'd have to think about it, but I think magic in this movie, it's about, if we had to abstract it to something that is like an actual message for the real world in a way, right? Like, women have a natural connect. Everyone does. But I do think women, societally, because we're allowed to explore our emotions more.
Yeah.
And also because, our biology in general is naturally cyclical. We have, we can't run away from, a connection to the earth. But we, at the same time, have choices about how to use that connection. And I think the main point of this is that, because the bitch at the fucking magic shop, what is she doing with her magic? It seems like nothing.
She leaned forward for this, guys.
Right? I had to lean forward. It doesn't seem like she's using it for anything. But I imagine what she's doing. She's at home. She's got some nice plants growing. She's working on herself. And she's, really connected to her needs, who she wants to be, and all that. And that's kind of, I think, the proper way to use magic is what she recommends, is, it's not about seducing people, making yourself look pretty, or killing someone to get all the money or whatever. The best way to kind of use that connection, although you could use your feminine wiles for lots of other things, but ultimately what's going to serve you best is all right here.
Yeah, but this magic shop bitch didn't do so much. She didn't stop. She got a bad vibe off of Nancy.
Okay.
Did not stop her from getting that book. When Sarah was freaking out, telling her all this stuff was happening, didn't help her. She was like, Sarah, I don't think she's a perfect. Sarah could have died that night, and this magic shop bitch would have read the newspaper oh fuck,
you're absolutely right.
Chased her.
But the magic shop bitch is not magic, I'd argue. And
yeah, I don't think she's magic.
Yeah.
I think she's an
And she's a small, independent, like,
Hemingway.
business owner.
I think she's Hemingway if he were an English teacher instead of a writer.
Oh my god. I don't even know
That's
what
the magic
means.
shop is.
Okay. Well,
she's not using the power.
We gotta tie this up.
Is my point.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I think the magic question is a little difficult.
Yeah. What do you guys think, huh? Time to
leave a comment.
Yeah, leave
Liz's
a comment. Day. You shithead. Watch The Craft, you fuck.
That is honestly, though, even though we are force feeding them something to do and they're not going to do it.
Yep.
I am curious as to what people think magic is in The Craft.
Yeah.
Go watch The Craft and tell us, guys.
Yeah.
Don't text it. Comment it.
Comment it. And call your friends. Well, we'll catch you next time. I was Liz.
I am Gabby.
Okay.